you are you're such a great option for supporting a man who wants to emotionally mature, you know. I think that's what we get out of becoming conscious. And so, I'm going to be biased, like, especially if you're a dad, like, absolutely should. But I think also what's really important to point out is that, like, the work you've done on yourself is really clear for me as a woman, as a female, because you're, yeah, you're like challenging yet nurturing. And that's, yeah, that's really rare for women.
Imagine discovering a pathway that cuts through the noise of trying to heal, to instead offer you a clear, revolutionary initiation into your most connected, abundant, loved, and purpose filled self. A place where your dreams transform into personal reality. I'm Allura Halliwell, founder of the Consciousness Method, and it's with deep gratitude that I connect with beautiful souls who have already experienced this transformative method firsthand. They'll share how it has profoundly changed their lives and led them into inner truth. Hello, Darren. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No worries. Darren is one of the amazing humans that's just completed his 3-month mentorship. Also, an incredible coach and supports amazing humans, and dad, an all round spiritual seeker. So, I'm excited to have this chat with you to see how the consciousness method mentorship landed for you and what you felt like you got out of it. So, maybe should we begin with a little bit of a summary about where you were when we began?
Yeah, when I met you, uh, I had told you that I was having huge challenges in my relationship, and um, I mean, yeah, that's an understatement. Uh, and also, oh, like I didn't mention as much, but business was kind of, I feel like business was just picking up before I met you, but also felt like it was still a bit out of alignment in the sense that all of the people that I was like working with and helping, they weren't all of my people.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought I'd mention that because that's definitely something that's changed.
And so let's just fast forward and get to like the best bit. Just and then we're going to tease it all out. What has actually changed in the last 3 months
Well,
working together?
well, I mean, I'm sure that like the work we've done, you contributed to. Like I had as a consultant, as a mentor, because I had a fitness studio, a gym 8, 9 years ago. But aside from then, when I had an actual physical business, I had my best financial month ever. Um, and yeah, I find myself constantly saying, um, I don't feel like I work. Like, yeah. Um, yeah, so that's been awesome. The last 3 months since we've been working together, that happened. And yeah, I've never had such a stable baseline of clientele and yeah, feeling really congruent in what I'm doing, coaching and creating my own body of work. And yeah, I've got direction in that.
Great.
And in the midst of like huge stress, I guess, like, I say relationship challenge, but who knows, like when I met you, if it wasn't gonna happen anyway, in regards to like the amount of, you know, stress and like grief that I've been going through. Um, and just processing that has been, like on a daily basis, like needing to stop doing everything just because feeling so deeply the feelings I was feeling that were clearly things that needed to be processed. They weren't things to just, oh, hey, keep going. keep, working, getting shit done. It was like, no, this is like basically like letting go of who I thought I was. And I said to you before this that, probably for the first time saying that I like was have been an anxious person, but not realizing, everyone gets anxiety, but not realizing the sort of secret ways in which I'd been doing that through money, business, um, daily actions, and then on my partner in relationship as well, like sort of depending on those external things or external people to get my anxiety soothed.
Mm.
And yeah, through the process, the consciousness method, yeah, it's really clear to me that I'm I'm not doing that anymore. And I'd say that's probably the mirror reflection of how the business feels aligned. Like, I would definitely tell you I was in the mindset of like chasing clients or what do I need to say or post or whatever to like get them in it. And it's not that so much anymore. It's like I might think, oh, what's a thing that I will say or whatever that provides value, but it's like it's coming from me and my real experience. And um, yeah, so I'm just more present. And it's like you say, you can only be as present as based off of how conscious you are, or
Mm.
unconsciousness will like pull you out of the present moment. And now I can just observe my thoughts of all the old sort of patterns um, of like needing to know, like you say, or um, yeah, just like thinking about the future or things needing to be a certain way. And so like I can just settle into coming back to yeah the present moment and um, accepting it.
Yeah, that's huge.
The
Thank
big
you for
word,
sharing.
acceptance. Yeah.
It is a big word. Like, we can't take it lightly because we can bandy it around and be like, yeah, we're going to accept something. To say that is very different, though, than your nervous system and your internal being safe
Yeah.
enough to say, actually, this is how it is, even if I don't like it and I don't want it and I don't want this to happen. This is what it is. And I think witnessing you, you've come um, through a lot of the processes of getting more and more real about what things are, especially in the relationship. And then as you've done that, you've come closer to yourself and you've realized more about who you are and what you need in a relationship and who and what is aligned for you. And I've witnessed you probably just land more fully in a safe version of you internally instead of looking outside for that to be met. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting looking back to, the things that I notice I do, which is like if I'm outside, I'll be looking around at people. Um, and I've always had this thing where I'm like looking and I might see a face that I know. I've seen faces I've known across the other side of the planet. Um, like when I was in Scotland, I saw someone I went to school with, and like so I've been really good at spotting faces. But like now I notice where I'm just like I care less about what everyone else is doing, like or what that sort of implies, and I'm just like following my instinct of whether it's where I'm walking or it's what I plan for the whole day to, be productive and grow my business or like enjoy myself or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely like I almost feel like the process I'm going through now is realizing really like who I am without like putting myself second, which I didn't realize I was doing.
Yeah. And that's huge. And just like reflecting on the process we went through, we joined like quite a lot of dots in terms of and obviously you're an aware human and you've done a lot of work on yourself as well. But we were joining dots in the early part of the mentorship around your relationship patterning as well, and beginning to see the pattern that you were running and how that was showing up around you, and maybe becoming more conscious of your role in that pattern, but also the dynamic of victim and perpetrator and how you felt within those patterns
Mm.
with relationships. So I'm curious to hear that particular process of becoming more aware of the universal pattern. How was that for you?
Yeah, like the core wounds, you mean?
Yeah, the core wounding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
relationship.
yeah, it's wild looking back and going, oh yeah, I can see all of them, and yeah, probably just that process of unmasking the behaviors that I was doing to try and, get love or a sense of certainty or worthiness from something or someone outside of myself.
Mm.
And yeah, until you mention it, I sort of hadn't reflected back on that part a while when it was like really, well, I mean, I guess I would say it's still intense, but it's just like the sensations of sort of, I've processed so much.
Yeah.
So now I can just notice the fear-based thoughts that like want me to act, but it's like they don't have power anymore because I allowed myself to feel super uncomfortable feelings,
Mm.
um, which processed it, right? It like took my stretched my nervous system, like you say, and I just allowed it to stretch. Um,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
powerful.
what was it like? Uh, yeah, like really painful and necessary, I think that that's the the best kind of growth. And yeah, I'm yeah, really grateful for that pain.
Yeah, and that's a big piece of it, right? The pain portal.
Mm.
And we do, I think there's a very, big body of work out there around shadow work and kind of going into all that stuff. Um,
Yeah, I
Creating,
see your stuff. I see like what you do is, yeah, I see it as shadow work. I see it as probably just more like a broader, like well, it's yeah, it's a broader energy that comes about that.
yeah, and that's the question I was going to like tune in on. When you began to see that pain maybe from a more sensation based and less of a physical orientation as opposed to a suffering
Mm.
based way of viewing it, did you find that you got more access to it and had more experiences where you went into it and then had a release of consciousness or awareness? I mean, I think I saw you do that a little bit around your son when we kind of went through that patterning there. I saw the pain come up and then you processed it and a new level of consciousness came through. Um,
Mm.
but I'm curious about that experience for you, kind of liberating more of yourself through that pain.
Yeah, I think we'd spoken about how when I'd done some of your meditations and I'd gone into it, and I mean, I know I was sleepy sometimes, but then other times, and I would, the meditations are focused on pain and fear and bringing my attention to that. And I really feel as though like, my system had shut down. So I'd like just sort of blacked out for the meditations. And then I'd come back and done them like a second time, a third time. It was almost like my body was ready to handle like letting go of these fears, these fear beliefs, and like what was underneath one fear after the other, which was like, it might start off as like fear of uh rejection or something, and then it would end up being fear of uh not being seen or not being loved or something like that. And then yeah, I would have the epiphany that, oh, I'm love itself, this is this lens that I've lived from, that so many of us live from, that like that thing is outside of me that I need, or outside of this present moment as well. Um, so yeah, it just took practice,
Yeah.
and your guidance was yeah like invaluable to do that, obviously. And yeah, I remember then it's probably been the last few weeks when we were talking about doing the meditation or like focusing on the process of like welcoming of like fears, and then I did it, and it was yeah, it was like liberating, like you said, because it was like the whole focus was fear, but I was just welcoming it, and I was actually a good feeling experience. It was like I'd been on the other side of it because I was like, oh, there's none left there. That's what it felt like. It was like all was left was just me. I felt like I cleared it out.
That's huge. That's
And
really,
I don't really feel like, oh yeah, maybe there are more fears now, but yeah, I don't, it doesn't seem like there's a whole bunch.
no. And I think one place where you've anchored now is in the unknown. I think before there
Yeah.
was a lot of resistance to what was going on. And so you were trying to create safety by going into the predictable patterns to get the same responses to try and feel safe in yourself. But now what I feel is that you're very much in like a radical acceptance of what is, but also that means more in the unknown, and you're creating safety and stillness there. And
Yeah.
that's huge because your nervous system's really anchoring into you as opposed to a false reality where you think you're going to be safe. You're actually becoming safe.
Yeah, and I think I'd said to you, like we'd spoken about, like I rubbed my vision off the whiteboard, and that was not so much about, because of what a vision or mission will be for somebody. It was more so that I think it was manufactured from that fear of not knowing when it wasn't really connected to my heart. And so I, and I mean, it hasn't made a difference to my business of having that vision up there. It's whenever my intention is pure, like I'm connected to the present moment, that's when, great new opportunities have come up business wise. Yeah, and now I've rewritten my mission and I'm going to rewrite my vision, but it's like I feel like I probably have access to like what I would love to see
Yeah.
or do or become or have, um, which yes, seems like more congruent now.
Yeah, that's super powerful. That alignment is very valuable.
Well, and just being like malleable, but being flexible with like, okay, that's the vision, that's the mission, and also like I'm not attached to it's gonna exactly turn out that way.
Yeah. No, and
That's
I
the key.
remember that was huge. I remember a part of that when it was like letting go of the outcome or the
Yeah.
result to really anchor now. And then from there to create now, which means that the result isn't inevitable anyway, because you
Yep.
just
And that's that
create now.
anxiety. And that was that anxiety that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you
Mm.
transverse that like pretty, like really well.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference to like people, fear of the future. They notice a thought that they have about fear of the future. Like I would say, I almost don't want to call that anxiety. It's like anxiety is like it's like if you really get to the core of it, it's this really intense sensation and
Mm,
urge to know and have to predict what's going to happen in the future.
yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, I'll just notice it. I'm just like, no, I actually don't know anyway. Like, it's hard to describe because like people can go, oh yeah, I'm not attached to the future, but you can say that you can be bullshitting yourself. I feel like you can be just in your head and be like, oh yeah, I have the idea of not being attached to it, but it's like, oh yeah, when things don't go how you expected, well, how do you feel? So now it's like for me, things don't go as expected. I'm like, okay, cool. If there's any attachment, I'm going to immediately allow myself to just sit in it and process it anyway.
Darren, that's massive. Like that's changed your whole energetic signature. And that relaxation into the trust of you and the alignment of you is going to be the ultimate creation energy for you.
Mm.
It is already. And I'm curious to hear how is it being to reorientate your vision of your relationship and you in the relationship? How has that been to like unpack that?
To unpack it, what do you mean?
Or just
Like,
to be like to go through, it's really easy for us to look out to our partners and go, oh, it's them and it's their fault and whatever they're
yeah,
doing is the problem. But it's another thing to look at yourself and see
yeah.
where you're attached in the relationship or where you're projecting or where you're creating a certain dynamic in the relationship.
Yeah, like I'd probably say, we were talking about the shadow, right? If I were to get more specific on shadow behavior of what was revealed to me is by probably like healing that, you know, anxiously attached sort of system, I realized that the opposite was really what I needed and what I continue to need, which is taking space. You know, there's a healthy version of every behavior. It's like I've needed to take space, which is distancing. That's the opposite of like chasing things, money, clients, business, people, love, whatever. Like instead, I needed to like distance myself from money, clients, business, people, love, because like I've got all of those, like all of the power within me, like that none of those things externally can be added on to what I already have. So it was very revealing to me that, yeah, I've just done a 180 degree where I really was in this chasing mode of behavior. Like you would have seen it at the beginning in my relationship, even the way I was speaking about it was like, I need this to be like, I need this outcome.
Mm.
Whereas now my whole, yeah, like my whole point of view on it and everything is like, is my time best, like vested in this wherever I am with whoever I am?
Yeah.
Like, even for someone to come up to me at the gym and they're like, oh, hey, I randomly want to ask if you want to go for a walk. There's a guy I've met a couple times and stuff, but like, it's not usually the other person asks me for that. I know this is a little thing, but I was like, not today, but like another time would be cool. Like it's usually me just organizing this stuff like that. We talk to people, and I think that's an energy thing as well.
Definitely.
And actually, like the funny thing to talk about business, to just show how easy it can be as well. Was like, remember, there was some things I was posting that I was doing, um, and I was just posting, and I wasn't even like typing anything about it or talking. And then I had like someone come and find me. You know, I didn't do anything. You know, I just thought that was
The
really cool.
energy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darren, I've definitely seen your energetic signature shift quite substantially, and you feel more relaxed and centered in you in a way that's just, yeah, going to be amazing to hold space for everyone around you. So I've just been really grateful for the journey with you. If anyone's out there, like a particularly maybe men that are kind of thinking about their relationships and they can go and see you, of course, but what would you say to a man that would maybe be looking at this level of work?
Uh, I would say that you are you're such a great option for supporting a man who wants to emotionally mature, you know. I think that's what we get out of becoming conscious. And so, I'm going to be biased, like, especially if you're a dad, like, absolutely should. But I think also what's really important to point out is that you're, um, like, like, the work you've done on yourself is really clear for me as a woman, as a female, because you're, yeah, you're like challenging yet nurturing. And that's, yeah, that's really rare for women. If I look back and think about certain women, I would be like looking at for advice or trusting for guidance, and not even through their fault consciously, but through their level of self-awareness and their bias towards like how they interact with men. Yeah, you're a rarity in that. And so, like, yeah, I'd highly recommend like men come to work with you from a really, um, yeah, like creating a better health, like a more healthy relationship with the feminine, aside from anything else going on for you personally. Because really, like what we spoke about, right? You said at the start, you said you can't work with this woman because you haven't healed this within you. And I saw it playing out. And what's super cool is from my client today, helping this woman who has like overdeveloped masculine features within herself. Nothing wrong with it. It makes us hyper successful business wise. But today and other times when she's been really blunt and abrasive, I've been able to just totally handle that. And today, just like making it actually playful and fun for her to soften and realize, oh, I don't have to put down my like really competent parts of myself that are really like masculine. I can actually soften that attracts the exact man that she wants and like be expressive from someone who grew up in a family where nobody talked about feelings at all.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, to be able to just like navigate through that when, her bluntness at a time was towards me to not talk about a topic, and for me to just go, okay, like I can like handle that and not take it personally or anything. And just be like, cool, I can see what we need to work through here. Um, yeah, I probably like I literally wasn't able to do that with the other person that we spoke about. That was like my last misaligned client that that left, and I was like, good. Who now watches me every day on,
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah. That's so profound, like that
Yeah.
development of your connection to your inner feminine, but also the feminine in general, and deciphering them. And I'm honored to have played a part in that, in being
Mm.
able to show you, because there was moments where I was like pushing you into places you didn't want to go, like
Yeah.
challenging you to see things that were in the unconscious that were like, oh, hold on a minute, that feels abrupt. But then knowing at the same time that I'm doing it from that level of love that I want you to feel held to go where you need to go.
That's it, right? It's felt that it was always with love,
Yeah,
and yeah, you can't fake that stuff.
no, that's the real deal. Thank you
Mhm.
so much, Darren. I've been totally honored in your presence to be able to support you in your journey, and just knowing that you're such a brilliant coach and supporter of others that, yeah, it's just a great feeling for me to be able to support people that are doing such great work as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's weird saying you're welcome. Like, super, so appreciative of, appreciate you, you know, in every aspect of what we've done.
Thank you, Darren.
It's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you, and to say thank you, I'd like to share with you 3 beautiful meditations to explore your core wounding and a collection of masterclasses. You'll find these in your show notes. And if you feel the synergy to this path, know that it is available to you also.